Welcome to the Album of the Week podcast. My name is Vic, and I have my co-host Jesse here with me. How you doing, Jesse?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you on our first episode. We're going to be doing an album that we've been waiting for a while. Me and Jesse are quite familiar with the band, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and that's actually how we kind of know each other. We are both big fans, and we couldn't wait to get to listen to this album. First impressions, Jesse. What were your first impressions on the album?
Well, when I first heard the record entirely for the first time, it took a while to get used to it. It really wasn't the traditional sound that I'm used to hearing from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. But as you know, the more I listen to it, it's starting to grow on me day by day, and it's pretty good so far.
I actually had very similar feelings. It took me a minute to kind of adjust to the new angle they took. It was much different than the last album, and very much different than the two previous, Stadium Arcadium and By the Way. But I also started to like it the more I heard it. I was a little worried when I heard the first couple tracks that were released, but in a similar way, I started getting used to each track individually, and the more I listen to the album, the more I can really appreciate it. You got a little advanced listen on some of the tracks because you got to hear them live, right?
I sure did.
How did you like? I think you got to hear "Sick Love" early, right? Because you went to the iHeartRadio show.
Yeah, I got to hear a few of the new tracks early on, but my first impression, it was really hard to get into the songs just because when you haven't heard something before, you really don't know what to expect. So I was just trying to embrace the sound and just kind of pick up what I can hear and try to remember it. But Sick Love was definitely one of the ones that I remember the most, just because I really like the way Josh plays his guitar part. It's got that real kind of like ballad lovey-dovey type of sound, and I'm a sucker for those kind of noises. So it was really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I hear what you're saying. Josh has been a very, very interesting part of the last two albums, and this new album, I feel like he really put his fingerprints on it, as well as a new producer, Danger Mouse. I feel like you can see their fingerprints all over this album. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, you can definitely feel it. As soon as we got the first single in Dark Necessity, it was that little electronic snare and the piano chords. It was a different vibe, but it was still Chili Peppers,
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. Well, let's get right into it and start with the singles. The singles right now are Dark Necessities, and they just announced Go Robot. I think we talked about how we kind of were getting used to the new songs initially. Dark Necessities was the first single, and I thought it was an interesting choice after listening to the album that they would go with that. But I don't know if you agree with this, but the Chili Peppers have always kind of picked, at least of recent times, they've picked songs that aren't necessarily the most radio friendly to start off with. But in a way, yes, in a way, no. Do you think that should have been the first single?
You know what? I probably would have gone with Go Robot. I really like that song, but Dark Necessities is also a really good track. It's got a nice intro to it, and then a few seconds into the song, you have that really clean slap bass that we're all used to hearing from a Chili Pepper song, and I think it works for being the first single. I know I have what I've heard from Anthony. He said that I guess Danger Mouse really pushed for this track to be the first single, and I guess he got his way, and it worked out for them. I dig it. It's one of my favorite tracks off the new album, so it works out.
That track kind of made me a little apprehensive. I didn't warm up to it as fast as the Getaway when they released it on YouTube, but after a while, I really started getting into it, and I think you're right in the sense where you wait a couple seconds into the song, and then you get something you're used to with the Chili Peppers, that slap bass. And initially I thought it might not have been a great choice for the first single, but after thinking about it for a while, I think it actually worked. And as far as Go Robot, I think that might be the funnest song they've done in a really long time. Whenever I'm listening in the car, I'm shaking my shoulders and bobbing my head and moving to the music, and it's great. I absolutely love it. I don't know if that's necessarily my favorite song on the album, but I really, really think it's a great, fun song, and I think it's going to be interesting to see that. I think it's going to be very radio friendly. I think that people are going to really get into it. If it were my choice, I think I'd go with that as the first single, but it's a good follow-up to Dark Necessity, I think.
Oh yeah, it's definitely good follow up. I mean, like you said, it's a good, fun, funky track. I mean, I always find myself dancing to it too whenever I hear it. So it's really got that vintage Chili Pepper sound to it, especially the way with Anthony's flows and that
Yeah,
again that slap bass. That's when once you hear that, you just can't sit still. You just want to kind of move your shoulders and bob your head and see what's gonna
yeah,
happen next.
yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I think that flow has been an interesting thing in this album. He still has, he's doing a lot of singing in the album, but I think he kind of went back to basics a little bit, not quite all the way back, but that little rap flow is definitely really strong in this album.
You can definitely hear Anthony's voice being like a huge like he drives the band a lot more. I feel was his voice on this album than previous albums. You could always kind of feel like the Chili Peppers have always been kind of bass driven, and I think in this album you can definitely feel like it was a lot of Anthony and Josh.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like he kind of started using his flow as an instrument. He used to
Yeah,
do that a lot more, and I feel like he's getting back into it. Kind of using his flow and his language as well, the way he kind of bends words to fit the way they need to fit into the songs, and I think that's why I'm really enjoying this album. It's kind of back to basics, and then it's not as well with what Josh is doing. Some interesting uh, elements that he's brought in, and excitement and energy, and I think that that's all come together and really worked and created something different that we haven't heard in a long time.
yes, I totally agree.
I think we're going to move on to the next segment, Love It and Hate It. And I feel like for me, this was really hard to do because I love a lot of the songs on this album, and
Right.
I hated very little. But I'm gonna try to do my best on narrowing one song on each side. So for me, my love it was Go Robot. Like I said, I dance to it, and I really get into it. But there's so many great songs on there that I really wanted to pick, but I have to pick that one if I have to choose a song for Love It or Hate It. And for Hate It, oh man, it was hard, but I guess the song that I least get into is The Longest Wave. It's still a very solid song, and I enjoy it, but just maybe not as much as all the other songs. For you, Jess, what would you pick? Love It or Hate It, or Love It and Hate It?
Well, there's actually two songs to me that stick out to me the most that I really love. Sick
Hmm.
Love is obviously one that I've had the privilege to hear live, and I knew once I heard the Josh's guitar playing and that chord progression, I knew I was gonna love it. Like I said, I'm a sucker for those type of songs, so
Yeah.
that's definitely one that I really love and can't wait to hear again. And another song that I do like a lot, which I've had the privilege of hearing it on some of the live downloads from the previous On With You tour.
Hmm.
The song Encore was actually called That Jam during the On With You tour, and they would just kind of improv, but they would um, play this particular jam at uh, during some of their encores, and you know, the band has always been a favorite at that little jam session that they would have on stage,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that they actually made it into the song that we have now called Encore. So I can't wait
Yeah.
to hear that
Yeah.
one live again.
Yeah, that song was it was very familiar to me, and it took me a while to understand why is this familiar to me, and sure enough, through the different message boards or Twitter feeds that I follow, it it made sense once I found out that it used to be a jam that they went to during the I'm With You tour, and it made 100% sense. And you know what? It's a really great song and very interesting for sure.
Yeah, it's a
Okay,
good
so
song.
yeah, definitely. So, what would be your hated? You have to pick one song that maybe is not, on the top of the list of this album for you.
Um, I'm not a big fan of the song. I believe it's called "The Hunter."
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's just I felt like it was just a little too slow for my taste.
Ah, okay. I get you. I
Yeah,
get you.
and that's
Well,
that's pretty much it. I mean, the lyrics are pretty good. I like them, but I just thought it was a little too slow for my
a little too
taste.
slow. Okay. Well, I found it interesting. It has definitely like a classic rock feel almost. A little. What I really liked about I really like that song, The Hunter, but those intro vocals. I'm not exactly sure who did the intro vocals. I don't have it on my screen here, but she did incredible intro vocals. I really liked them, and she also did the outro vocals. I really enjoyed that song, but it's interesting that it would be your bottom of the list. But on another note, I want to talk about one song in particular that I thought was very interesting. What did you feel about the song Detroit?
Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know what? I thought it was just an okay track. I was expecting it to be, I guess, a little bit more like rock heavier and
Mm-hmm.
a little more funkier, just because Chad's from Detroit, Michigan, and Anthony was
Yeah.
born there. So I guess like it's not the same thing when you're always singing about California. You always want to give those California songs a little bit more love than a different city.
I thought it was interesting that they went a lot heavier than they could have gone heavier, but I think they went a lot heavier than anything we've heard in maybe three albums,
Hmm.
maybe since Californication. Maybe I'm trying to think of a track that might have been on that same level, but I thought it was very interesting that they would do something like that. They would kind of change it up, but I feel like that might be the theme of the entire album, where every song kind of has its own personality. Every
Oh yeah,
song kind
definitely.
of every song kind of has a different feel, yet they all kind of work together and kind of make this really great album, and at least in my opinion, really great album. And it actually works, where you can go from a heavy song, uh, or you can go from a lighter song like Feasting on Flowers, which is dark in nature through lyrics, but then go to something heavy in its musical capacities in Detroit. But I actually I think that's one of my favorite tracks as well. Detroit was up there for me. Well, let's get to the big steak. The sizzle is gone with all the things we've been talking about, and we're gonna go straight into rating the album. And we're gonna do our traditional score rating, A to F. And I'll let you go first on what you would rate it, and give us a little explanation on why you rated it that way.
Yeah, so the way I had it rated, well, I actually did like the 1 through 10, but I'll give you the school grading system. So, um, my when I after listening to it for a couple of days, going on to a week now, I'm probably going to give it a solid B, an 8 out of 10. I mean,
Okay.
I just it's a good record. It's a different sound. Everything that I've heard is I love it. I can't complain. It's exciting that they're. It seems like every time the Chili Peppers come out with a new album, they kind of like set the they set the bar for the next bands that are gonna try to do it next.
Yeah.
It's like they continue to reinvent their sound, and it seems to always work with the time we live in today. So that's something that I'm really pumped up about this band. Every single album they come out, it's always something new, but it's fresh and it works, and I can't wait to hear this whole album being performed somewhere around the world.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. And you're a big concert goer. You go to a lot of shows, especially Chili Pepper shows. So I'm sure you'll hear some of these albums, and you know, you hear them live. This band, not only can they write a great studio album, but there's nothing like it when you go see them live. As you can attest, I'm sure you've seen them many times.
Yeah, they're a great band live. I would definitely recommend if you just like the Chili Peppers for one song. I guarantee after you see them live, you're gonna want to keep listening to them for a long time. So. you ever had
Ab-
the chance to go see him live, I would definitely do it.
Absolutely, I agree with that 100%. Um, Now, to my rating of this album, I would have to give it a B. B minus. I'd give it a B minus. I really enjoy this album, and I might be a little harsher on this album because Chili Peppers are one of my favorite bands, if not my favorite band, and I think it was a great album, and I think it works well together. But when you take the whole catalog into consideration, um, it's up there, but not quite as good as Blood Sugar Sex Magic. But I think it's close to Californication level. So I'd have to give it a B minus. A lot of the songs are fantastic. A lot of them are different, and I think getting used to it might bump it up to a B. But I'm really loving a lot of the tracks and the songs, so I'd give it a B minus. That might change in the future the more I listen to it, and I've been binging on his album, so I think it's been getting better and better as I listen to it. You hear something new every time. I think it will get better. If you had one word to describe, or one phrase to describe this album, what would it be, Jesse?
One phrase to describe this album. Dang, that's pretty tough. I would describe it as just fresh, a fresh sounding Chili Pepper band willing to experiment with new sounds and ready to get up in your face and give you some of that funk you're used to hearing.
Definitely. And on a last note, I'll just give you what I would say. One word to describe this album, in my opinion: dynamic. Dynamic is the best way to describe this album. Very different, but still has a cohesive feel to it. And on that note, I think we're going to end our very first episode. Jesse, did you enjoy yourself?
Oh yeah, I had a great time. It was always awesome talking about Chili Pepper music
Or music in general, and I think
or
that's
music
what
in general.
yeah, and I think that's what we're going to be doing in the future. We're going to be picking different music that maybe won't be something we're used to, and we'll be able to critically go through it and tell you whether or not to. Oh, I guess we should do that now. Would you suggest someone buy this album, Jesse?
Oh yeah, I would definitely suggest everyone to buy this album.
I would too. So go buy this album if you can. Follow us on social media, and that'll be it for today. Be well to each other. Goodbye.